Hello, my name is John, and I'm a nerd.
Suicide Squad. I watched it. I intentionally avoided any other reviews as best I could. I couldn't help overhearing or accidentally running across headlines and so forth that indicated that some people probably had some similar reactions as I did. I was really looking forward to this movie. I had reservations because it was R-rated, and a lot of people think R-rated is what it's all about, but I'm not a big fan of R-rated films. Some of them are very, very good, and there's a sensible reason why they're R-rated. Sometimes movies take advantage of the R rating to just see how much they can do and get away with, and just because they can. And I think with this Suicide Squad movie, 2021, some of that was in evidence. Gory destruction for the sake of humor, I do not appreciate. I don't find it humorous. There are exceptions to that rule when things are somewhat more of a poetic justice as opposed to just, oh, look, they blew his head off, it's funny. Not funny. The excessive amount of death in this seems... It is Suicide Squad, and granted, I was never a Suicide Squad fan. I may have read one or two comics many, many years ago, but it was never anything I was very familiar with. And I think I've mentioned before, more than once, that a lot of the characters in this movie, I was sort of aware that they were comic book characters, but I was never very familiar with most of them. Polka Dot Man, I've read maybe one or two comics with him in it. Ratcatcher, I've never read anything with Ratcatcher in it, though in the Arkham games there are references to Ratcatcher. That was my exposition to Ratcatcher. And Ratcatcher 2, which is the girl in this movie. So, Javelin, I don't think I've ever read anything with Javelin in it. I've heard of it. I've heard of him, but don't know anything about his character. This movie was not what I would call a successful film. It tried to do too many things, tried to be too many things, and ended up being none of them. There were moments that were interesting. I could not help but love seeing Starro. Like I said in one of my reactions to the first trailer I saw, Starro was one of my favorite goofy villains from the old Superman comics back in the 70s and 80s. I think he was introduced in the 60s, actually, originally. I'd have to double check that, but I think that was when he was introduced. But my reading experience was more in the 70s and the 80s. I just could not help but enjoy Starro. He was completely misused in this. He never even... Okay, I'm not going to do spoilers. I'm trying to avoid spoilers as much as I can with my reviews. I don't like to do spoilers. Maybe at some point I'll get into more details about certain things. And I may have said a couple of things that were sort of spoilers, but I think I said them vaguely enough that maybe I hope they weren't. If I did spoil anything for anyone, I apologize. After having watched the movie, if you decide to put yourself through that, I'm not spoiling anything because it's really not that good a movie. I was pretty sad, and I understand after watching this why Margot Robbie has said that she's not interested in playing Harley Quinn anymore, because Warner Brothers doesn't know what to do with her. She had some good moments in this film when she was being completely psychotic, and you went inside her mind, and you were experiencing some of her hallucinations, or whatever you want to call them. I'm not sure. Those were kind of fun and interesting. And like I said, there were some moments in this movie. It just could not make up what it wanted to be. Whether it was a comedy, because it did have comedy. Whether it was a gritty war movie, because it sort of had elements of that. Whether it was some kind of a psychological thriller or a political thriller, or it just could not make up its mind what it was trying to do. I did, just to talk about the characters a little bit. Some of the characters had some really good moments. My two favorite characters, well, three I guess, were actually, as I mentioned, Starro, Harley, and King Shark. King Shark was possibly my favorite. He had some really good moments, in spite of the stupid story. But if you watch it for anything, watch it for King Shark and Starro, if that's your cup of tea. I also have to talk about Amanda Waller. I really enjoyed Viola Davis playing the part in the original, or the previous Suicide Squad movie. She was also good in this. I just don't agree with the way the character was treated. Like I said, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but there's a certain event that takes place that as the Amanda Waller I understand from the comic books I've read and other sources, certain things would not have happened. Not the way that it was depicted in this movie. It was just completely ridiculous to her character. The entire movie is completely ridiculous. But if you're presenting a character, a lot of what she did in the movie very much fit with her character. But there was, and I think you'll understand it if you watch it and see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just really not impressed with a lot of the choices in this movie, which I may have already stated. James Gunn, I was kind of hoping would do a good job with this, because I enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies very much. The first one and the second one. Both I enjoyed. This one was not a success. I'm not even going to give it a rating, because I don't think it gets above 5. If that. It's just, I would not recommend it. Don't waste your time with it. If you have HBO already, HBO Max or something, and you want to waste some time just seeing how stupid this movie really is, I don't know, when you get done watching a movie and you feel like you need to go take a shower, it doesn't make me think I've just watched a good movie. That's kind of how I felt about it. The choices, the story itself, everything was very negative about it. There was nothing enjoyable. Well, there were moments of enjoyability, but they kind of got ruined. Because the optimism and the heroicism is just wasted. And again, like I said, I don't want to say too much to give away spoilers for anybody that really feels they need to watch this for themselves. That's the kind of person I am. I don't like to go on other people's word. I like to see it myself and make my own decisions. So I respect that. But if you want my opinion, don't waste your time.